Welcome to our program. I'm Harry Greenberger. I'm the president of the New Orleans Secular Humanist Association and the host for this show. Tonight we have a very special guest with us. It's Barbara Forrest, who's a professor of philosophy at Southeastern Louisiana University. And appearing with us are two members of our organization, Michael Malik and Dave Schultz. Barbara has made quite a name for herself recently, and I'm going to ask Dave just to give us some of the background of what Barbara's been doing.
All right. Well, Barbara is a national leader in the fight to keep religion out of the science classroom. She has worked tirelessly against the creationist movement to put religion in place of science, especially in the biology curriculum of many schools. She has written a book that's been recognized for its thorough treatment of the I guess it's a strategy that the creationists have put forward, and her book's title is Creationism's Trojan Horse: The Wedge of Intelligent Design, and it lays out how the creationists are trying to drive a wedge between science and the public school curriculum. She's been tireless in her efforts. She's given many interviews on radio and TV, and she was instrumental recently in the case in Dover, Pennsylvania, where intelligent design proponents tried introducing their version of creationism into
that lawsuit in Pennsylvania was a major event.
That's right.
In this whole question of whether intelligent design is suitably treated as science in public schools, and it got national attention, did it not?
Yes, it did. Yes, it did, and it brought NOSHA some attention as well. Because,
how was that? Because
Barbara is on our board of directors of NOSHA, and she was. The defendants in that case were trying to have Barbara eliminated from the pool of people who were to testify because of her association with NOSHA. They said that should disqualify her. The judge disagreed, and Barbara went on to give a very devastating, I think is the word that's been used, a very devastating testimony against intelligent design.
And what was, Barbara, what was the gist? We'll get back to what you were going to say, but what was the gist of your argument?
Well, I'll give the background of the case first. The Dover Area School District in Dover, Pennsylvania, tried to have intelligent design inserted into their 9th grade science curriculum. They also were going to require teachers to read a statement informing children that intelligent design is an alternative scientific theory, and that there were books in the library, a specific book entitled Of Pandas and People, that they could read if they wanted to learn more about it. Well, 11 parents in Dover filed a lawsuit against the school board. It was the first lawsuit filed over the issue of intelligent design creationism. I got called into the case having written the book Creationism's Trojan Horse, and I had two tasks as an expert witness. The first thing I had to do was to explain to the judge, and this was a bench trial. There was no jury, so I had to give all my information to the judge. I had to explain to the judge that intelligent design is creationism and therefore a religious belief, and give him all of the evidence that comes from my research to show him that. The second thing I had to do was to look at earlier drafts of the book Of Pandas and People and analyze those drafts and show that that book had been written as a creationist textbook. So the case really turned around whether or not intelligent design is science or whether it's religion. And my task was to show that it is religion. It's a religious belief. It isn't science. We had scientists as expert witnesses who were able to explain the non-scientific aspect of intelligent design to the judge. My role was to show him that this is a religious movement that's using politics to advance its agenda, and that the book that was in the school library of Pandas and People is a creationist textbook.
And the judge who was hearing this case was not one of those far-out liberal-minded judges, was it?
No. In fact, the judge was a Republican appointed by George W. Bush to the federal bench in 2002. And it was very interesting. I think that the intelligent design proponents at the Discovery Institute pretty much thought they had this in the bag because the judge was appointed by such a conservative president. But it turned out that this judge was more concerned about the Constitution than he was about politics.
How surprising. This is a federal judge. A
federal judge who took his responsibility to the Constitution very seriously, and also took very seriously the importance of judicial precedent and abiding by judicial precedent. And he was a very thorough, very careful judge. And Judge John E. Jones III.
And who were the plaintiffs in this case?
The plaintiffs were 11 parents in Dover, Pennsylvania. The lead plaintiff's name is Tammy Kitzmiller. In fact, the case is named for her, Kitzmiller et al. Versus Dover Area School District. Tammy Kitzmiller is a single mother of 2 teenage daughters at Dover Area High School. She was joined in the case by, among others, Brian and Christy Ream. Brian Ream was, at the time, a teacher in Dover High School, a science teacher, who transferred to another school district because of the difficulties he encountered in trying to counteract what was going on in Dover High School. And so he became one of the plaintiffs, and actually now serves on the Dover Area School District. He ran for the school board and won.
And the attorneys who were representing the plaintiffs were which organization?
Well, the American Civil Liberties Union of Pennsylvania was one of the organizations that stepped in to help. Americans United for Separation of Church and State provided legal assistance. But the bulk of the legal firepower came from a private law firm called Pepper Hamilton, which has over 400 attorneys, and they provided several attorneys who Pepper Hamilton agreed to take this case pro bono, and the 2 lead attorneys from Pepper Hamilton were Eric Rothschild and Steve Harvey. From Americans United, we had Richard Katsky, and from the Pennsylvania ACLU, we had Vic Waljak. We had a team of about 10 attorneys altogether, but they were the main ones.
I see. And did they keep you on the stand very long?
For 1.5 days.
I see.
The Discovery Institute, actually, which is the organization that promotes intelligent design, actually did not have a role in initiating this case. They did not actually want the case to proceed. They knew that the case was built around intelligent design explicitly, and they did not really want that term to be used because they know what a legal liability it is. The Thomas More Law Center, which is a conservative law center in Ann Arbor, Michigan, took the side of the school board and represented the school board. The Thomas More Law Center, and I'm sure working behind the scenes with the Discovery Institute, tried to have me eliminated from the case because they did not want my testimony to be heard in federal court. They understood that it would be quite damaging to them.